Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Freely. So in today's video, we're going to be covering the creative filters on the Canon M50. What is it for and who should use it? Today I'll be answering both of those questions. But before we get started, if you're new to the channel, I'm Freely and I make videos about cameras, including tutorials and reviews revolving around the Canon M50, but not limited to that. If any of that interests you, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. So the creative filters on the Canon M50 are just a set of filters that are installed on the Canon M50. So think of any kind of filter app that you use on your phone, so like VSCO or like Instagram or just any other app that applies filters to your photos. So what's really cool about the Canon M50 is that it comes installed into the camera and you can take photos directly with that filter on. So it's a pretty cool set of features that they decided to include in this camera. Just to note, most of these features I personally wouldn't use, besides maybe the miniature effect one, which I'll be talking about later on in the video. But feel free when you're just getting this camera, or if you've had this camera for a while, just to explore these different filters, because some of them are actually pretty cool. Also have to note that this only works for photos, so if you're planning to use this in kind of like a video setting, it's not going to work. Besides the miniature effect one, I'll be talking about that later on in the video. So with that said, grab your Canon M50, turn it to the creative filters setting, and let's get started. Alright, so just like my last video, we're just gonna be going down the list of how it's listed. So the first thing's gonna be the grainy black and white images. So this is a cool filter. It's just basically a black and white filter that they add a little bit more grain. Also have to note that for each of these settings, if you hit that Q in the top right corner, you can choose the strength, or how they say it here, the filter effect level. So they have high, standard, and low. So that's just good if you just don't want as much of a strong effect, I guess, on your picture. In my opinion, it's kind of limited. They only have high, standard, and low. That's pretty small of a range that you can work with, but it's good that they have it there. So that's grainy black and white. It's pretty self-explanatory, but grainy black and white. So the next thing is going to be a soft focus. So this one's pretty self-explanatory. It gives a very soft focus. I don't really have much to say besides it makes images look soft. So the next thing is going to be the fisheye effect. So this is a pretty cool effect because it adds that like very barrel distortion onto the image and makes it just very like, I don't know, fish-eye-y. So if you really like that look, it's cool because the camera has this built in to the photos, not quite in the video. But what I have to note about this is that it's not going to actually give you any more of a wider image. It's just basically taking the regular image and then just distorting it to make it look like a fisheye effect. It's not actually giving you a wider image. So that's just something you have to take into account. Next thing we have is the water painting effect. So this is actually a pretty cool setting. I'd use this for like landscape photography because it makes it really look like, I don't know, it's a water painting, just like in the name. It's a really cool filter, so definitely check it out. Next thing is going to be the toy camera effect. So this simulates a toy camera. I've never actually seen a toy camera, but what's interesting with this is that you can change the color tone of the toy camera. So it has the standard one. It looks kind of greenish, but you also have a warm tone and a cool tone. So that's pretty cool. It has this vignetting on the edge of the image, so it's kind of like a, I don't know, like a little bit of a soft border around. It has that vignetting. You can't adjust that vignetting. I wish you could though, because for my taste, I'd have a little bit less vignetting, but maybe that's just how the toy camera looks. So maybe that's why they couldn't change it. So yeah, pretty cool effect. Next thing is going to be the miniature effect. So like I said earlier, this is the effect that I probably use the most. So this is effect where it'll make things that are big look very small. So maybe it'll make it look like it's very small items like toys. So this is a cool effect. What you can do is use this in video. So this is the only setting in the creative filters that can actually be used in video. If you guys want to learn how to use it in video, leave a comment below and I'll definitely make a video about that. But this is really cool. You pretty much have grid lines that kind of guide you to where the blur is going to be. Anywhere above those lines is going to have the blur, and anything within those lines is going to be in focus, and it gives a really cool miniature effect. So definitely try that out. Next thing is going to be the HDR art standard. So this one, it says it's going to be used to resemble paintings. It has very low contrast, flat color grade, and it takes 3 continuous shots. So if you look here, So it takes those 3 shots and kind of combines them together into one photo, and it kind of creates that I guess painting kind of look. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Next is the HDR Art Vivid. So this one says images resemble vivid graphic art with flat color grade. It takes 3 continuous shots. Once again, it's gonna give a little bit more of a vivid picture, which I kind of like the look of it, so definitely try that one out. This next one is HDR Art Bold. So this is the, I guess, the most like intense one out of these 3. These ones are gonna have a very bold kind of look. It says the images resemble oil paintings with vivid colors and depth. It reminds me of a like comic book kind of look, so it has very like sharp edges, and it's just a very vivid photo. And in my opinion, it can be a little bit oversaturated at times, but you can't really control how saturated it is, which is kind of weird because all the other ones had some kind of filter strength kind of control. You can make it low or high. So that one's pretty cool too. The next one is HDR Art Embossed. So this one is set to resemble old and faded photos. So this one is pretty self-explanatory. Old faded photos. So let's just take one right here. It's a very old and faded photo. To my liking, it's kind of nice. I kind of don't like it, but I guess in some settings, maybe this like architecture or like street photography, this will look pretty good. So those were all the creative filters, and honestly, it's a really nice addition to the Canon M50. If you're a person that just likes using filters right off the bat and not having to worry about applying the filter in post, then this is a cool place to start if you have a Canon M50. But in my opinion, there's just not enough of a variety of different filters to really make this useful. It only comes with really 10 filters, but apps like Instagram or like Visco come with like 10 plus, maybe like 20 different filters. I don't know the exact number, but a lot more than just 10, and they have a lot more variety also. This one only has really like selection for HDR, a couple like fisheye and like water painting effects, which isn't that bad, but I just wish it had more options. So it definitely pales in comparison to like phone apps. But like I said earlier, the miniature effect and some of the HDR effects would, in my opinion, be the best ones of these 10 different filters, and I highly suggest you guys try it out for yourself, especially the miniature one. If you guys want a video about that again, definitely leave it in the comments below and I'll try to make a video about it. I can't really find myself using these filters all too often, but don't let that stop you from you yourself actually using these and experimenting and getting creative with these different filters. If you guys got some value from this video, make sure you hit that like button, and if you want more content just like this, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. If you guys want to learn more about the Canon M50, I have a playlist on this channel called Canon M50 User's Guide. So I go through everything from like a review to a bunch of other features about this camera. So if that interests you, I'll have it linked in the card or in the description down below. But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video once again, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See you guys later.